Tonight, we're going to dive into something pretty chilling, actually. The idea that the very skills you developed to keep yourself safe could become a perfect roadmap for someone who wants to hurt you. It's an unsettling truth about how our own survival instincts can be turned against us.
See, the problem is, we think we know what to look for. We're taught to expect a villain, some kind of clear warning sign. But in the real world, the most serious danger, it rarely ever announces itself like that.
No, instead of a warning, they show up with what feels like an invitation. They don't look like a threat at all. They look like they understand you, like connection. They make you feel seen, maybe in a way you've never felt before. And that right there, that's the heart of the strategy. They don't arrive as a problem. They arrive as the solution. They seem to just get it. They understand the parts of you that you've never even been able to put into words.
So you can see how we end up looking for all the wrong things. We expect the shouting, the obvious lies, the open hostility. But the most effective manipulation, it's not loud, it's gradual. It's this slow, quiet chipping away at your sense of self until you start to wonder if you're the one who's crazy.
So how does this actually happen? How does it work? Well, it all starts with the very things you believe are keeping you safe. What you see as your shield, a manipulator sees as a perfectly detailed map directly to your weak points.
Okay, let's really think about this for a second. Let's say you grew up in a house where being ignored or heard came quietly. You probably developed this incredible skill for reading a room, right? You can sense a shift in tone, a pause that's a little too long, a change in energy, and you see that as your defense. A manipulator, though, they see it completely differently. To them, your ability to sense distance is a direct line to your biggest fear, the fear of being left behind, of being replaceable. So how do they do it? It's not about just tricking you. It's far more sophisticated. They actually integrate themselves into your existing psychological wiring. They find the load-bearing walls of your personality, those strengths you built just to survive, and they start to lean on them until they crack. So let's take a really common one. We know from psychology that when kids can't count on steady support, they learn to handle things themselves. They become these incredibly self-reliant adults who seem totally calm under pressure. They trust themselves first and foremost because they had to. Now, a manipulator doesn't try to break this independence. No, they weaponize it. First, they'll admire your strength, making you feel so seen. Then they create this little exclusive club of two. You and I, we're the strong ones. Everyone else, they're just weak, they're needy, they threaten what we have. And slowly, over time, your greatest strength, your independence, becomes the very tool they use to isolate you.
And here's another trait they are absolute masters at exploiting: rejection sensitivity. If you've ever had that deep-seated feeling of being, temporary, or never quite being the first choice, attachment theory shows you might develop a habit of over-functioning. You give more, do more, understand more, all in a subconscious effort to make yourself absolutely irreplaceable.
And this just perfectly shows you how they operate. They don't just appreciate your generosity, oh no. They recalibrate the entire relationship around it. Suddenly, your willingness to go the extra mile, that's the new baseline. And before you know it, you're trapped in this endless cycle of trying to earn back the validation that they gave you so freely at the start.
Okay, so all of this, it's all building towards a critical point. I want you to think of your mind as a highly secure system, like a vault. A smart operator isn't going to try to brute force their way in. They're going to wait for a totally different kind of vulnerability to show up. A lot of people, especially those who've been through tough times, have these incredibly sophisticated defenses. Your brain is a master at recognizing patterns. You're hypersensitive to contradictions. You're always thinking, always alert, because your past taught you that when things got quiet, something was about to go wrong. So here's the kicker. They don't try to pick the lock. They just wait. They wait for you to get tired of being the guard. That constant mental alertness, that chronic overthinking, it burns real energy. And in that one moment of pure exhaustion, they offer you a version of safety that feels like it was made just for you. And the craziest part? You might even see the red flags, the inconsistencies, but you're so worn down you end up convincing yourself that you're just being paranoid, not that they're being deceptive. All right, so this brings us to a really, really crucial shift in thinking. Trying to outsmart a manipulator is a losing battle. The only real path to clarity comes when you turn that incredible hyper-awareness you have for the outside world inward. Your body often knows the truth long before your brain is willing to admit it. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a really tense, confusing argument with someone, and all of a sudden you start laughing? And it feels completely bizarre, totally out of place. And listen, the psychology on this is crystal clear. That's not a sign of disrespect. It is a neurological distress signal. It's what happens when the emotional tension and the logical confusion get so high that your nervous system has to pull an emergency release valve. That laughter, that's your brain hitting the brakes to stop a total system meltdown.
And there's another internal signal. It's this idea of split maturity. It's that strange feeling of being so capable on the outside. You're the problem solver, the one everyone relies on. But on the inside, you feel lost, confused, and just empty. That gap between the capable you and the you with unmet needs, that is the exact territory where a manipulator loves to set up camp. So, where do we go from here? What's the way out of this? The key really is to change your job description. You have to stop being a detective trying to figure them out, and you have to start being a guardian of your own inner world. See, the proof you're looking for, it's not in what they do. It's in your patterns. Are you constantly minimizing what you need? Do you find yourself actually apologizing for wanting support? Do you feel guilty just for being human and needing something from someone? That incredible emotional endurance you have, it was developed for your survival, not to be a container for someone else's cruelty. And if you take away just one thing tonight, let it be this. Your energy is a finite resource. Stop spending it trying to analyze their motives, their past, their lies. Start spending it monitoring your own well-being, enforcing your own boundaries, and actually honoring what you need. This is the fundamental permission you have to finally give yourself. You learn to be hyper-aware to protect yourself. And now you have to use that same awareness to see that real connection doesn't demand you to sacrifice your own reality.
You have been on high alert for long enough. You are allowed to rest. Sleep well.